So when Jeff Bezos, when he founded Amazon, when he raised, I think he raised, I speak under correction here, but it was 20 or 60. And it was higher than 20. It was like 60 individual $100,000 investments. And I think he had, I don't know how many meetings he had, but this is like a documented thing about how he initially raised capital for Amazon. So they were only selling books. They weren't this monstrosity of a business that they are now. But what he said to them in his first letters to investors, he's like, we're not going to behave like a normal business. Like he says, if you invest with us, you must understand that we are going to play, and we're going to play a lot. Yes. And we're going to do these things that don't make sense. And we're going to do them because of the opportunity that should we succeed, it will unlock for us as a business. And so it's top down. And that's why I'm saying, like, and again, it was part of the DNA from when they started.
The DNA. That's a big thing. But what if your founders, your board, your CEO do not have that DNA? Is that business then doomed?
Yes.
No, dude. No, yes. There's always an opportunity. No, it's going to be harder.
They will break up. They will.
No, not always. Surely you at the bottom have influence.
Bear Stearns, 2008.
Yeah.
A bank so big, it was deemed too big to fail, no longer in existence. It's like, it's inevitable as part of the economic system and fabric that businesses operate in. It's like Brett was talking about quantum computing and AI and all this stuff. I mean, it's like you're not going to be able to compete. And the only way that they compete is because they go out and they go and buy startups that have developed the IP and the tech. And then they bring it in and then they try and help it scale. And that's the thing, you know, and that's especially true here in South Africa, because as a startup, you've got B2B2C. So if you want scale, you go to Standard Bank, and this is what SnapScan did. And they went, hey, we've got this innovative mobile payments thing. And you snap the QR code thing and it takes like no time at all. And you can transact and you don't even need a bank account. How amazing is that? Sweet. They went to Standard Bank and they died. Because they could have become a South African unicorn. It was that good of an innovation. It was so simple, anybody could use. It was agnostic from a user perspective, and they're stuck in South Africa. So
I get what you're saying, but eternal naive optimist that I am, I refuse to believe that if you're a person that, for instance, studied accounting and suddenly you're working in this big firm in banking or something, now suddenly you're listening to the show and you're thinking, I'm done. You know, I just need to get out. I need to go and work for a startup. But surely you can have influence where you are in a big. Is it going to be hard? Absolutely. It's going to, most probably suck your soul before you get somewhere. But every single person at every single level has influence. Does that mean you're going to wake up and, and go to the board of Standard Bank and show them this video and tell them, I have influence, you should change? No. There's different ways of doing things, but I refuse to believe that big businesses are doomed to failure just because the ones that have been there the longest have the biggest say. Change is always possible.
It is. So obviously there's no they're all going to die for sure, but I would say most of them will. I mean, if you think about the Fortune 500 companies that were there 10 years ago and the ones that are there today, where are they? I mean, it's documented. This is a scientifically proven thing. If you want to know where the future's going, you look at the history and you say, okay, that's what happened back there. Take the financial system, gold in like 5000 BC, and how like the principles of money and how that's now evolved to currency, which is effectively worthless, and then you look at hyperinflation and blah, blah, blah in 2008, and suddenly you get to see the real picture of what's actually happening and where true value sits. And so going back to the point around like big corporates, it's like you're going to die. Right? You're going to die. Think about it.
Could we agree on the middle point? Okay. You're going to die if.
That's better.
Or you won't die if. And
That's
then
better.
we start discussing the solution rather than the inevitability. I always say when you discuss the future, don't discuss probability. Discuss possibility. So if we say, if you are big, then you will most probably. But maybe let's, instead of saying most probably because we look at the future or because we look at the past, say, what if? So instead of saying how do we or it's definitely going to, what if we? So any large corporate, any large business that know they're stuck in a rut, how do you know someone's going to get disrupted? An industry is ripe for disruption. It's really, really big. It's dominated by a few players and it's overregulated. Those are the industries. So if you're in that industry, if you own a business there or you work in a business there, what you can do now is not just break up and die. What if we did certain things differently? What if we considered, what if I as a person just started influencing my team? What if you as a mid-level manager started managing your team differently and communicating with senior management differently so that they can assess the risks, play a little bit, etc.? I think we wait a lot for the tone from the top. I'm not going to because the president should. I'm not going to because the government doesn't. That puts us in a victimized spot, I think. And I would hate to be a victim my entire life. I have no power because surely I have some power. It might not be big. I might not be able to change the world, but where I am with what I have, I can make a tiny difference. The whole was it the sea star analogy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. So yeah, I guess again, but no one knows the truth. I just believe that we're going to see change that we've never seen ever.
Yes.
And at the scale and at the pace that
Yes.
we've never seen. And that's like, who knows? It's like, who really knows?
Absolutely. And it's going to be disastrous.